Good evening. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back again to another live wire from Global Society of Human Capital Management. Global Society of Human Capital Management, GSHCM, brings to you the latest topics to discuss. And we today bring to you one of the fantastic line of speakers from United States of America, Greece, Europe, UK, Middle East, and Asia. Today, we'll be talking about a series of discussion on analytics, which is becoming one of the hot topics all across the globe since the new normal, where new normal has been defined. If you want to get to the normal, either you have to go to maximize your business through the digital or through the analytics. So we have come up with a brand new series of topic, which is called Digital and Analytics series. And today we're going to have a discussion on a fantastic topic: is analytics effective for the business? And before we start our discussion, let's have a small brief introduction about from each of the speakers. Today we have got Engineer Bashir, and Bashir is well-known person by now in analytics in Saudi Arabia, and he is working for the government sector, and he has been leading analytics for over 20 years. We've got Alina, and she is one of the leading expert in analytics, and she has been leading analytics in the banking sector, and also she's an expert in other industries for analytics domain. And we have got from US Dr. Pragati, and Dr. Pragati is one of the finest, you can say, intellectual brains and guru in analytics, and she has been driving analytics for organizations like UID, which is leading the government initiative to optimize the entire database of the country in India, which is one of the largest democracy of the world with a population of almost 1.5 billion. And we have with us Abhijit. Now, Abhijit is one of the pioneer in providing analytic solutions to the client. He has designed numerous training programs, certification in analytics. He is a phenomenal consultant, and he is regarded as one of the who's who in analytics. So let's hear from them what they have been doing in their project for a couple of years, and then we trigger the discussion. Engineer Bashir, mic to you.
Thank you very much, Sandeep, for the introduction. Analytics is becoming extremely important and very, very critical in how an organization, government or private, succeeds in today's ever-changing world. I do believe that there are a number of things that any organization need to take, in particular specific steps, in order to become more analytic aware or data analysis aware, and then how to move on. I've been working with analytics for quite some time. The value of it, whether for the government sector or for the private sector, is almost immediately evident. It's very, very difficult not to see this benefit from it. I've been working again for the past 20 years. I have 3 master's degree. I'm a PhD candidate, and I am here today to talk about analytics in the business sense.
And you must have heard Bashir last time when we had a talk on analytics, specific to how analytics can, how we can create analytics-driven business culture in an organization. And he has thrown phenomenal some of the pertinent topics and points, and we're going to take it forward specific to the government sector. Alina.
My name is Eleni. Hello, you can hear me. My name is Eleni. Just to introduce myself, I have bachelor's degree in applied mathematics and master in advanced computer systems with specialty in decision support systems. I have 15 years of experience in analytics and customer lifecycle management, mainly in the banking and financial sector, though analytics can be applied in any organization to help them on the decision making or to understand their customers' profile and needs and address their needs proactively, for example. So I believe analytics can be applied to any organization, digital, e-shops. A big example is Amazon, where they mainly use analytics to propose next best offer or products that the customers may need. They have analyzed behind their profile and their previous purchases, and they try to predict their future needs. So there are few examples which we will see also further in our discussion.
And Alina is regarded as one of the who's who in analytics in the banking sector. So we will hear a lot about from her. We'll
Thank you so much.
compare banking sector, non-banking sector, and she'll tell us a
With
lot
others.
about that, how analytics is not only for banking sector and also pertinent for other sectors. Um, Dr. Pragati.
Correct.
Rawat, and I have a bachelor's in engineering technology, a master's in business administration.
Dr. Pragati, you have to say it again because you were unmuted. You're muted. I unmuted you. Yeah,
Okay.
you can start.
All right. So, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I'm Dr. Pragati Rawat. I have a bachelor's in engineering technology, a master's in business administration, and then later a PhD in public policy. I started my career as an engineer in a manufacturing organization, and that is where I have seen the use of data analytics for yield improvement as well as quality improvement for production. And then in purchase again, data analytics was used for supplier performance, for lead time assessment, for cost of the components assessment, again linked to the main objective of productivity of the organization. I later moved on to engineering services, where I worked with Agilent Technologies for almost 10 years. It's an organization that spun off from HP. Again, a lot of data analytics was used for process automation. So we had data analytics, applied analytics for process improvements. And then I got the opportunity in 2010 to work with the government of India as a manager for policies and processes. So in that role, I defined several policies, processes, and documents for the government of India for a project wherein they enrolled the 1.2 billion plus population of India and assigned them unique identification numbers. So we created the world's largest database there with 1.2 billion plus residents enrolled along with their biometrics. So again, a lot of data analytics was used there for keeping a track of all the enrollments that were taking place in the field, as well as a lot of data analytics related to data security and privacy. So that was another unique concept there. That was also a turning point in my career. I moved on to United States to do my PhD. I completed my PhD in public policy in 2018. And the project with the government was in fact a defining project in my life, in my career. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Pragati. And she is a phenomenal professor in US, and she is also regarded as one of the who's who in analytics, and she will give us a lot of glimpse on analytics in production domain, and as well as in the government sector, and also in information technology sector. Abhijit.
Hello, I'm Abhijit Mukherjee. I'm an MBA in marketing and a graduate in computer science. I've been an entrepreneur and a business consultant for the last 20 years. For the last 12, 13 years, I have been running an analytics-driven advisory firm. Currently, I'm trying to get into setting up an educational medium for analytics, not with an aim of creating data scientists, but with an aim of making business people realize that how they can use analytics without being a data scientist also. The mantra in life is very simple. As I tell my clients, if you want to run your business as if you're not running a gambling house, please use analytics. And if you want to gamble as if you're running a business, still use analytics, because data just enhances your probability of success, a word we'll be using and hearing a lot during the discussion. Yes, Sandeep. Sandeep, you are mute.
Sorry, thank you. Uh, Today we're going to talk about a very, very unique subject, and this is going to be, you can say, a warming up session for our series of talk in analytics and business. And we're going to talk about, with a warm up session, that what if we say that analytics is not effective. So the question is other way around: is analytics effective for the business? So let's have a small views from the speaker, and then we will trigger the first part of our discussion. Yes, Bashir. A minute.
Okay, I'm unmuted. All right. How's everything with everybody so far? Are we warming up? Okay, I can't hear anybody. All right. So when we talk about analytics in government business, what can analytics do? And correct me if I'm wrong, Sandeep, but we're right now going into analytics in government business and how government can work with analytics to improve its business. Am I correct?
Yep.
All right. So one quick thing, or the first thing, if you can you show the second slide, Sandeep?
We'll just go for the slide later on, just a minute of talk, and then
All right.
we will go from the slide one.
All right. So when we're talking about analytics and decision making in the government sector, or even in the private sector, as I already mentioned, without analytics, you're pretty much gambling, or you're not sure of the outcome. And in a government setting, making a decision that can affect a nation on the long run, and then trying to change that decision later on, it would become extremely difficult, and the negative impacts would be amplified basically with different sectors involved. So when you involve analytics, for example, in a government economic standing, or a government e-business, or even the e-trading, uh, taking a decision using analytics will allow decision makers to understand what kind of impact, run simulations, and then decide whether or not whatever decision they wanted to take, is it a viable decision or not. And that's how government can benefit from uh, analytics. That's in a business sense. In a service sense, they can start predicting, for example, when is the traffic going to go or to increase, and they direct the flow of traffic in any either direction that would reduce the pressure on specific road systems. The same things happen with airplanes or ships, ports. Response to healthcare issues, such as now in Corona. Now we can have an easy way of detecting infected people and containing the infection for COVID-19, for example, using different platforms. So governments can use analytics, and they are benefiting from it on various fronts: security, cybersecurity, anti-fraud, education, transport, as I already said, healthcare, in agriculture, in so many things, which we will go into details later on.
Thank you, Bashir. Eleni. You're unmuted. Yeah.
Analytics.
Yeah, I've unmuted you.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, my opinion is yes, absolutely. Analytics can be effective for any organization, for any business. As per my experience in the financial and banking sector all these years, in the sales department, boosting the sales, analytics can contribute to 25% incremental sales of the total sales of the bank, and more than 50% to customers' retention. So customers who are about to leave the bank for lots of reasons, more than 50%, depends. It may be 50, it may be 60 or 70%, or to retain these customers and continue being with us in the organization. So yes, analytics is a big boost either in the sales of any digital e-shop, physical shop, insurances, banking sector. Any organization, I believe, can give value. either in the sales or in the risk department. They also apply it in big organizations like banking.
Thank you, Aline. Dr. Pragati.
Yeah, so I understand the question is whether it is effective or not. So I would say analytics is effective for any organization if they have defined their value, correctly first. So whether if you're assessing the effectiveness of analytics, first you need to know what is the value, like how are you going to measure the value of that analytics. So you have to define the value, what is valuable for the organization first. So it is plausible to think that all organizations would want timely, correct, complete, secure information. But the degree of the characteristics of these analysis may not be the same for every organization or every project or every activity within an organization. So, for example, in case of disaster management, because timeliness and coverage of information may be very important for an organization, a non-profit organization that is involved in disaster management, say, because several lives will be lost here if the information of, say, a natural disaster is not received in time. So you have to define what is valuable for your organization, what is your core function, what is of value for that core function. So once you have defined that and you're analyzing the information or data that you have according in alignment with that value, then data analytics will be effective and of value to the organization. So
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Pragati. Abhijit, from a consultant point of view and from a certification designer and a skilled influencer and the trainer point of view, is effective if is analytics effective for the business? I'll unmute you.
So I'll start with point of view of a businessman. The moment I decide that I'm not running a gambling center and I'm running a business, the only thing I'm hunting for is information. If you think information will bring in effectiveness to your business, then that's it, because analytics is a medium to bring out meaningful information from the data you have. It's not that businesses today are using analytics. They have been using it from the day the business started. So if I go to a mom and pop store and ask the guy who is sitting on the counter, he will be able to tell me which are his best selling products, why does he order a certain number of products. He's doing analytics in his mind. When the competition grows, the dimension grows, it is not possible humanly to calculate so many things or remember so many things. And that is the time we bring in softwares, we bring in algorithms, we bring in programming, and analytics certainly takes a huge size and shape. It still is not a monster. It is a necessity which we have been using from the past, and we continue using it. In fact, as I was telling in the beginning, even if you are gambling, a good gambler uses analytics to the best possible extent, because only gambling can increase his chances vis-a-vis the other competitors. Then only I can predict what is going to happen next, and my chances are that I'll be able to fare better than my competitors. Similarly, one must realize that analytics is not the answer to every problem. It is just an aid to get better solutions. As long as we are clear about what we want to get out of this, we will be clear about how do we measure it, and analytics will always be effective. If it is not effective, then there is something wrong with the methodology. There is scope for improvement on everything, but still we will have to stick to analytics. There is no choice about that.
Thank you, Abhijit. And Abhijit will touch upon very, very unique certification which he has been working on for a couple of years now, and which is catching up like a wildfire. In the analytics domain, he has launched a series of analytics certifications all across Middle East, Africa region, and all across the globe. One of the very unique certification we're going to talk about today, and he's going to give a little heads up for the HR professional, because since this is a HR forum, we'll talk about something, Abhijit, and you'll have to give a glimpse of it, that the certified analytics in human resource strategy and planning. Okay, we will talk. We'll hear about this certification later on. Let's trigger a discussion. I'll invite Eleni.
Sure. So we can start simply from maybe a simple question that any company may have. Where does a firm can start from? So if we can show also the slides.
This one?
Yes, this one, exactly. So if someone asks, okay, it's very nice, but where does a firm start from? So things are simple. Senior management is the one that can start this wonderful journey for the organization. Senior management needs to have the vision of using analytics for decision making, for increasing their sales with intelligent methods which analyze the data and understand what customers are doing, thinking, or feeling at every stage of their life cycle with the organization. And later on, when they see this boost in the sales, is the one that will prove to the senior management that their initial decision to implement analytics is good for the organization's future. So if we just see this slide simply, it says it starts from the vision of the senior management. Then we have to go to all the departments and all the stakeholders of the organization. We need to align this vision with the stakeholders. We achieve this vision through analytics. Very important part, the analytics, to achieve this vision. And we align our strategy with the stakeholders. These are the main steps to start with. And after we have done this, and as we all said before, that you set good targets, good objectives, you know what you are targeting, what are your objectives, what is your expected result. Accordingly, you apply your analytics, you will achieve it. Yes, if there are required corrections in the performance, in the data analysis, you will do them. Eventually, the numbers will show you that what journey you chose to go through, it deserved, and it's good for the organization. Apart from the banking sector that I have mainly experience with, and the financial sector, there we can apply analytics to cross-sell products to customers, or more products than the one they have, or retain them, as we said before, for retention. But any company, digital or non-digital, can use analytics to boost their numbers and enhance their customers' experience. It's also very important for the customer experience because you know how to treat your customers. Some examples, for example, and here we can show a very simple example of an insurance company, how analytics can help insurance companies. Is the next slide, which we can show. Yes, this one. It's a very simple example of a customer journey, because analytics can help an organization design customer journeys. Of course, the objective is to cross-sell or retain, enhance the numbers, boost the sales. Okay, this is our objective in this example. So how do I achieve it? I design customer journeys for each of my customers based on their needs that I have analyzed and based on their profile. So I'm trying to predict their needs and contact them proactively. For example, if I am an insurance company and I have a customer who has a car insurance for a car above 200,000 dirhams, I can cross-sell to this customer travel insurance to enjoy his trips with his family. Maybe not now during COVID, maybe when after COVID. Or when he gets married, so here we capture the event if he is married or not. When he gets married, we can cross-sell him home insurance for protecting his house. And later on, for example, in the same journey, if I continue example, we see if he has kids, we can propose health insurance for his kids. So there are a lot of examples. I just showed a simple example for an insurance. There are lots of examples in any organization that analytics can help in one or the other way.
Eleni, you're absolutely correct. And, through my experience, I can say that whenever I have visited clients who are not from the banking sector, the most common concern that I have heard is that analytics is only for banking sector because they have a lot of data,
Exactly.
and it cannot be used anywhere else. Whereas when I interact with people like Bashir or Pragati, it's very clear that it's not just the banking sector which is using analytics. And Bashir can tell me actually more about how is analytics being used in the government sector or in any other sector. He has been a pioneer in these in initiating these analytics driven initiatives in Saudi. Uh, Bashir, why don't you take us through some of the examples that you have always shared with
All
me?
right. All right, let's begin from the basics. Analytics is basically based on statistics, and statistics has been used ever since the pyramids and building the pyramids with the Egyptians. But the word analytics in itself has been used in business or in modern terms way back in the 19th century when Frederick Winslow initiated time management exercises. And also, another example is with Henry Ford when he started measuring the speed of assembly line. So, analytics in its current form has been around for the 19th century, since the 19th century, actually. With big data comes more analytics. And yes, banks have more data, so they are um, more readily available to use data and do analytics with it than other sectors. However, it's not entirely true that it started with the banking, as I already said. Governments can use analytics in, again, fraud detection in its own systems. It can use it to reduce crime and security threats, enable or enhance productivity, improve transparency, and cost reductions. Quick decision for projects such as how the ROI is going to work, so on and so forth. In Australia, they've been using analytics to improve emergency response system. In the world, governments have been also using analytics for the past 10 years almost in reducing inefficiency and workforce effectiveness. There are many, many cases where the government stepped in to increase their citizens' services and level of services. For example, I have an Abshir account. Abshir is a government platform where all my government work is related to through Abshir. And I receive from Abshir notification that my passport is about to expire. I need to renew it, or my ID, or my driver's license, or my family's ID cards need to be, renewed. Something is going to expire with my car insurance or my car license, and most everything has been custom made, or notifications have been customized to serve me as a citizen to do my government applications. I can do practically anything from Abshir. Use cases in government is also in healthcare, as I already mentioned, to manage infection and to the contagion rate of infection within a unit or within community, to measure education effectiveness, agriculture, forecasting weather, national security, and other aspects of it. So really, really, analytics have been it's just how to identify it and how to understand which application works to what. And as been mentioned before, unless you know what you're measuring against or what you're analyzing for, your efforts are not, your efforts are futile, or they don't work. So when you focus on what is it that you're measuring and what is the outcome you're looking for, then analytics will serve you greatly. And as mentioned earlier, you're not in a gambling house. If you know what your objectives are, you analyze for those objectives. Sandeep, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, thanks, Engineering Bashir. So let's hear from Dr. Pragati. And we've got very short time. We have already shooting around 30 minutes, so we need to move a little faster on other major topics.
So
Yes, your view.
I think all has already been said. I can just categorize the entire data analytics into sectors and what are the major areas. So basically, if you look, let me categorize the industry into three sectors: public, private, and non-profit sector. So data analytics is being used in all the three sectors, right? I gave you one example from nonprofit. Bashir has already talked about government sector. We have heard about finance and business from Abhijit and Eleni as well. But then I also want to categorize the type of data analytics into two major areas. One, it's basically an operations management concept, right? And the major, if we have to identify two major areas why we are doing analytics. One is to improve the productivity. Two major categories, if I want to put it into, one is yield improvement or output improvement or efficiency or effectiveness. That's one category. The other is quality improvement. So based on my own experience, I try to categorize every data analytics. The objectives are falling into one or the other category, be it in manufacturing, be it in processes, service industry, or be it in government. So these are the two major categories that you're trying to, areas that you're focusing on when you're doing data analytics. And again, as you know, it is linked to the core mission and objectives and what is of value to the organization. So everything is driven towards that.
Thank you, Doctor. So now, how analytics can transform the business? Dr. Pragati.
Yeah.
You're taking, or it's
I think
Engineering Bashir. Engineering Bashir, you're taking this.
It doesn't matter. Both of us are very well, versed in this. Again, how can analytics transform the business? It can cut down on your losses, increase your bottom line. It could actually help you identify your customer groups and then start focusing your marketing on those different aspects of your customer groups. For example, if your customer group is the age group between, let's say 18 and 25, then you can start customizing your targeted marketing towards male and female, towards hip hop, whatever. If you're in retail, for example, clothes or whatnot, you can start gathering those data from your customers themselves through social media, through loyalty cards or whatnot. There are so many ways that businesses can and will benefit from using the data that they currently have and tailoring that data to serve specific strategic objectives for them. Another example, and again, this is probably overused, but Target, back in about 5 or 6 or 8 years ago, they started using loyalty cards to identify their customer needs, and they started sending out tailored advertisement for each individual group of customers. For example, pregnant customers, they would receive promotions on things that relate to pregnancy and newborns, where sports customers or guys or girls who are into sports start receiving advertisement and offers on sports equipment and sportswear, so on and so forth. So businesses can easily manipulate their bottom lines by understanding what their customer wants and then serving that need. And it's really, really not that complicated. All you need is somebody to just sit back, see the data, see the feedback from social media, from different sources, and then just analyze the trends. And there you go.
Engineer Bashir, you want me to pop your slide now?
We've already mentioned, sure, you can. And it goes both ways for the second slide.
Yep.
Yes, go ahead.
Anyway, it's whether it's for government or it is for the private sector, using analytics to improve your bottom line is really not that complicated. All you need to understand is ask the right question and then analyze to answer that question. Again, for example, if I have a store for, let's say, fast food store, I want to know where's the traffic. So I can use Google Analytics, for example. Subscribe to Google Analytics. It starts helping me understand where's the more traffic. And then I can go to social media and find what kind of trends are in fast foods and then try to apply for that or supply that specific need. And then you can, once you open your shop, people start coming in, you can start reading the feed off of different platforms and see whether or not whatever you're serving is tasty, what kind of rating does it have, and you can adjust your offering accordingly. So it is a lot of tedious work to start with, but then everything starts falling in once you have that stream of data coming in and you're analyzing against it.
Dr. Pragati,
Yeah,
what's your take?
I mean, if I have to speak with respect to business, then I would say three major goals probably. One is like when growth and expansion is what any organization is looking for, and data analytics can provide the information that is related to anticipation of business opportunities, what business opportunity can be presented to an organization. So that is one area that any organization would be looking for. I'm talking with regards to private businesses. Then the second advantage would be related to competition. So organizations also collect information which can give them a competitive advantage. And the third, as I mentioned, for any organization, it's about efficiency and effectiveness, so cost. So for example, if an organization is looking to cut down the cost or waste, that is another area where any organization can use data analytics in.
Thank you. Alini, what's your take?
Try to say it in a simple way. With analytics, the organization becomes more intelligent as you have now visibility to all your data. You have visibility to all your customers' preferences and needs. And because you address their needs proactively, your customers become happier with you and they buy more from you. So this is my opinion in simple words, how analytics can transform a company. They give visibility, and as a result, if of course you use this visibility correctly, you have happier customers, customer experience contribution here, and of course boosting numbers.
We jump into the third topic, which is where does the firm needs to start from? You know, everybody knows that McKinsey just released their just August report. They say that if you want to become normal, it is digital or and analytics. Now, saying is easy. It's saying let's start the analytics. Let's start digital transformation and all. Now the question is, where does the firm need to start from? Who's going to take this?
So as we discussed also before, based on this topic, from where we should start with, we should start with the vision of the senior management. These are the ones that they will drive this transformation for the organization, because it's a transformation from the classic way of using my personal connections to attract customers, or using my friends to ask them if they are happy. I am going to a very digital way now. I am going to a more intelligent way now, where I have systems, I have automation, I have employees who know how to read the data and to translate this data accordingly to the senior management to take their correct decisions. So this is a transformation that an organization needs to go through. It starts from the senior management vision. Then all the stakeholders of the organization, all the departments needs to be aligned. And of course, everybody is aligned. We apply analytics, and these analytics will drive for sure to the result and to the vision that the organization has. Will increase The sales will contribute to the sales increase, will contribute to customers' retention, will increase the customers' satisfaction, KPIs. If there is also organizations with they have risk, it will help also on the risk factor. These are in simple steps how an organization needs to start from.
Abhijit, you are expert in
Yeah,
designing. You have been a consultant
so
to a lot of companies in analytics.
so I'll bring in some practical examples, and
Yes.
then I'll summarize it. There are two places where we can start from, or we should start from. Uh, Analytics in itself uh, means nothing to the business. The business comes first. So either we should start from the biggest pain point that the company is facing. So let me give you an example. We had a client which was a fast food restaurant, and they had a major problem that they had around 100 odd outlets. Each outlet on an average had 30 employees managing that outlet. So it made 300 employees, and their employee cost was going up to around 35 to 40%, which was a huge amount for that chain. And they wanted to reduce it. So what we did was we took uh, their their sales data and tried to analyze that do all outlets need equal number of employees all the time, and we identified the pattern that the same number of outlets can be managed by 170 employees by moving the employees at the right time at the right place. A clear case how analytics transformed the business. There was a reduction of almost 8% in the employee cost, which is a direct increase in the profitability of the organization. So if such is a case, then there is no doubt that the management already is feeling the pain. If you can reduce the pain, the management will be willing to invest further in analytics. If there is no apparently visible pain, then we have to identify where are the areas where we can make the quickest money. Because I have heard a lot of CEOs and managing directors tell me, Mukherjee, very good presentation. Where is the money? Because the money gives an assurance to the stakeholders or the the shareholders that yes, this is a good investment to make in the future. Hello,
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely,
am I visible?
absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
There was some slight lag.
So you could hear what I was saying because
Yes, yes, we could hear.
Yes, we can hear.
yeah.
And we absolutely
So the
agree.
second is do an analysis, identify the lowest hanging fruit. Most of the times when we are doing a project, we say that you are not capturing this segment of the customers, order to sell them, and that is where we start from. So wherever it is, you have to show the quickest return. Obviously, needless to say, the top management vision definitely makes things easier. Sometimes you have to
Slight lag is there, Abhijit.
yeah I think if you could hear what I'm saying board.
Yes.
So I think the examples would have helped the audience to visualize how uh, 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 the business transforms or business is transformed by analytics, and where we can start from. Obviously, there is no doubt that the management vision has to be in line because they are making the investment. But from a very consulting point of view, or from an employee's point of view, we should take up things which can show the effect quickest. It can either be
Sure.
addressing a pain point or by bringing in the mullah.
Let's hear from Bashir, his experience in last 2 decades. That how and we had recently had a talk on creating a culture of analytics in an organization. Yeah, Bashir, your take on where does the organization or a firm needs to start from? Bashir, you are there? All right, he'll come back. How about Elena?
Yes. How the organization can start. I absolutely agree with what Abhijit said. Yes, the senior management needs to be aligned, but also from our side that we want to go to them and show them the value. We need to
I
prioritize.
need some critical opinion here, because it's very difficult to sell the concept of analytics and digital to some of the top management. How do we pitch it?
Numbers increase. This is how we pitch it. Sales increase for sure. And there are examples, and we have examples.
I think you
It's
have
not
to.
only in theory, it's in numbers. We have facts. We present facts. We don't just talk.
Dr. Pragati, your take.
Yeah, I would say if you have to pitch in to any organization, you have to show them what is there in it for them. So you have to first know what are their pain points or what are the value that they are looking for, and then you can pitch the analytics according to that to address that particular value area that the organization is looking for. So it may not be the same for every organization. So it has to be tangible and meaningful value, but then that value will differ from organization to organization. So you have to understand the context of the particular organization that you're pitching for to, and then you have to show them what is it there in it for them. So an organization may be looking for financial gains, but another organization, it may be a totally different ball game for another organization. It may not be so much in financial terms, but maybe some non-financial goals that the organization may be having. So there's not one thing that fits everyone. That's
Dr. Pragati, where you want me to pop in your the slide?
Oh,
The
okay.
next one?
You can show that slide, but I think we already discussed that. Just bring that slide.
So then,
I can
we need to move into the another topic,
yeah.
measuring effectiveness of analytics. So we have pitched analytics, and we need to sell the product to our management. And Aline, she said that we show it with evidence, right? That and managements
Yes.
will buy if you show the evidence.
We can
yes.
show them numbers.
And management will buy only two things: if it increases my top line or it increases my bottom line. That's it. That's period. Yeah. So now let's have a talk on measuring effectiveness. 10 minutes. Yep. Bashir, you
Yes,
take a lead.
sir. All right.
Go ahead.
It's basically, how do you measure in a government sector? It's actually relatively easy to measure the success of your analytics. We have a lot of ways through social media to hear how people are responding to whatever service is done. I already mentioned earlier Upshare, which is a government platform to do your work in. Now I can do my passport in less than 5 minutes, and then just book an appointment to go and collect it, or it can even be delivered to me. If you monitor on Twitter to see the number or the effects of how well am I working, it's very easy to see the benefits where your complaints are dropping, your efficiency in your government pipeline is becoming, or government work pipeline is becoming more and more faster and more efficient. Your your turnaround time between application submission and receive of service is within 24 hours or 72 hours. It's very easy to monitor all of that, and it is without a doubt. It's right there in your face. It will always show you whether or not you are doing well if you ask the right question and analyze for the right reason or for the right outcome.
Right. Eleni,
Yes,
measuring
I
effectiveness.
yes, I absolutely agree with Dr. Bashir. So, how we start applying analytics in an organization when we are in the phase that we need to implement now? First, we identify our objective. Then, after we identify exactly what is our objective, we put in details the KPIs. We put in details what exactly we are going to measure. And then we apply the analytics. Is the third step we need to do.
Right.
So, first we know where we go, how will we measure where we go, and then we go.
Yeah.
Simple thing.
Dr. Pragati, take
Right.
us and tell us about what kind of a cultural shift is happening in the US from the point of view, and
All right.
especially just give us some glimpse about from the academic circle.
All
You've
right.
been.
So then bring my slide here, and I can talk a little bit about how it has moved. That slide will help here as well. Okay. So yeah. So I made this slide for some other purpose because the topic given was like the origins of data analytics, but I think it will help me in discussing this topic as well. So when we're talking about data analytics, like what is data analytics? When it is about observing, collecting, cleansing, transforming, modeling of data to help decision making. So I'm sure if we were to talk about, if we were to debate, we can always take the origin of the data analytics back to the almost to the origins of the mankind, because kingdoms were being run and wars were being fought, and of course data was being collected and analyzed even at that time. But if we are to talk about and understand data analysis and how it has moved from in the modern period, some of the works, if you look at in information systems and data science these days, they talk about the foundational work started in 40s, 50s, and 60s. So particularly the work of Future of Data Analytics by John Tukey and Business Intelligence System. This is actually the textual data first serious work on textual data analytics by H.P. Lund, which was published by IBM. And then this is the neural networks work by McCulloch and Pitt, which is also the basis of the logic of the logical design, which is the foundation of modern computer designs. So these are some of the works that is talked about when we are talking about data science that has become the industry buzzword these days. So again, I have some work here from Frederick Taylor, because even before we started talking about computers and intelligent systems, statistics, there was something else that had happened, and that was the industrial revolution and mass production. That is where we see the first emergence of data analytics. And Frederick Taylor was the one who's also known as the father of scientific management. He has talked about the principles of time and motion study. He did the first time and motion study in 1880s, and his work was published in 1911. So all this work in operations research, in mathematics, in data, in scientific management, all that work has moved and evolved into decision support system. It has evolved into big data. So that is one of the biggest things these days that everyone is talking about. And then data science. So what we are seeing, the shift that we are seeing now is related to big data. One, so not just quantitative numbers, but getting the information from all the, you have the internet and social media now. So how do you get the information from there and process that information? So here you get into machine learning. Here you get into your Python, R, machine learning. These are the things, some of the skill sets that people are now looking for in data science and big data processing. So that's where, and then now the future is in artificial intelligence. So that is where the big data analytics is moving towards. So how do we use this data that we have and process it and model it in a manner where we can do a prediction of the future, what is there in the future. So big data and AI is where the entire this discipline is moving towards.
Thank you, Dr. Pragati. So that's Very nicely summed up, and it brings to uh, the the summary, and we need to summarize
Sandeep,
this.
I would like to add something before
Yes, go
we
ahead, please.
move on. So basically, there are three. For me, this is the
We have
question which
precisely
is,
5 minutes
yeah.
to close.
So for me, this is precisely the question I'm asked at the end of every assignment we have done for a client. So how do you convince me that you have brought in an effect in the business? There are three basically ways of doing this. One, when we are talking about security and forensics, so any fraud management or crime management, these are like an insurance thing. There is no choice, you have to do it. You cannot measure the impact immediately because it happens once and it happens big. And I'll tell you a very funny story. There was this bank, we were trying to convince them that they should adopt analytics based fraud management, and the head of business always used to call his team and ask them that what was the fraud loss last year, and they would say this $30,000, and my billing was around $100,000. So the second year when we went in, we were sitting there, we were having the same discussion, and this time the business head's mood was very upset. He immediately agreed to what we were telling, and we asked him why. So it seems they had one credit card transaction fraud, and it wiped off $30 million from their accounts. So you can understand in these cases, you need to adopt analytics. There is no choice. But in any other case, we can either compare the performance, business performance from the past with what has been achieved after analytics is done, or we divide the whole group into two parts. So in one of the parts, say I'm doing an employee productivity improvement. So one part of the employee do not run any analytics based campaigns. The other, we run analytics based campaigns, and we compare these two. If you can show us the slide, Sandeep, where pre-analytics and post-analytics comparison of a cross-sell has been done, and Eleni would have seen this multiple times. Yeah, so this is
Sure.
an example. So the first one, my call center has capacity to call 12 people. Now, when I was not doing analytics, I was calling my customers randomly to buy a product. Now, when I was doing analytics, I got a probability of each customer, that how likely he is to buy. I placed all the high likely customers on the top. So the 12 calls made, 10 of them were high probability customers. So you can understand the conversion rate in the first case was 2 out of 12. In the second case was 10 out of 12. So a pre-analytics lead list versus a post-analytics can give you a clear measure of how effective has been analytics in your business.
Plus reduce the cost.
Absolutely.
All right. So this, with this, we come to the last subject, which is certification training and creating a culture of analytics-based decision making. We had a talk with Engineering Bashir last time, that how organization create a culture, and skilling people, as Dr. Pragati was saying, skilling people on this new emerging skill set. You call it analytics, you call it big data, you call it dashboarding, you call it AI, machine learning. Until and unless you cannot create a culture until unless you train and skill your people, and just by putting a logo that we are analytics driven company will not, so until unless there is a will to skill, train, groom, and nurture people, and let them practice what they have learned, and then create that culture. Now we are talking about creating a culture. So let's have some 1 minute of talk from all, and then we conclude today's talk. Yeah,
If
Dr.
I may begin,
Engineer. Yeah.
if I may begin,
Yes.
I was very skeptic at first about training and giving people those skills, whether or not they're going to accept it and how easy they're going to accept it. With the training courses, when you start slow and then start showing them the value, they will start eating it up on their own, and they will start asking for more training and more in-depth training because they start finding the value. And I'm not talking about senior management, I'm talking about junior people, entry level employees, and even supervisors, and so on. I've introduced a lot of people into certifications from Botanica and from any other training entity, and the value that they derive from those trainings is just immense, and your ROI is almost immediate. You can see people coming up and say, look, I've noticed this and I've noticed that, and this will help you improve something and will increase your bottom line, reduce your costs, and it becomes infectious. People start talking analytics and they start building beautiful dashboards that allows management to see. So your payback on any training is practically almost immediate after your employee comes back from that training. It's almost immediate, I swear. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing people going and providing that value almost immediately.
Uh,
Let me
Eleni. Yeah, Dr. Pragati.
I just wanted to build on what Bashir said because it reminded me of an incident from my own, when I was working with an organization and I was promoted to a managerial role for the first time. What Bashir said just reminded me of this incident where an employee who was working remotely, I talked to him as soon as I was promoted to a managerial role. I talked to this employee who was supposed to be reporting to me, and this employee, when I started to talk to her and I defined how her work was linked to the organization's mission, she got so emotional because she said, no one has made me ever realize that my work is important for the organization and it is helping the organization in some way. So she got so emotional, and so I said, why don't you start recording what you're doing and start collecting data on that and start presenting it in the department meetings? So that culture of data and analytics that you're talking about, it is also about leadership. It's not just about meeting the bottom line. It is also a culture about, it's also about leadership. It's also about employee morale. It really helps the employees to see how their work is impacting the bottom line of the organization. It makes them value their work. And so it's, leaders may think that employees are apathetic towards data collection and analysis. But on the contrary, my experience is that they would love to see how they are adding value to the organization. And if you're able to create that sense in them, why data analytics is important to reflect their own work, it should not be a challenge.
Bashir, can you take us through this wonderful certification which you have been talking about, and you have been developing a lot of series of certifications? One of those certification is Certified HR Strategy and Analytics.
It's without a doubt, Sandeep, with HR analytics in specific, I'm talking here. It's amazing the value that the company will have from hiring the right people for the right position at the right time. There are predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, decision-making properties that the different trainings offer. And it's, again, the results of those training are almost immediate. You can see it with the morale of the people. You can see it with how they provide or how they bring in value to the organization. Just a simple one of these very, very simple analytic tools is how to make a dashboard, and the value from that in an HR perspective. You're talking about turnover, you're talking about trainings, you're talking about so many things, and how those things apply to the job or to the organization. It's just amazing. And oddly enough, the trainings are not that complicated or difficult. It's just easy to go in and it just follows through. You just eat one training after the other. And again, the practice or the realization of tangible is right there immediately after the training.
Eleni, before Abhijit concludes with some details of his certifications and the training program, what he has been
Sure.
leading and driving.
Sure. As long as an organization has decided to go through the journey of analytics and implement analytics, their company, you need skilled employees. So you may decide to hire your the employees on your own, or you may outsource it to a specialized company that they know analytics. But in any case, whoever manages your projects, whoever manages your analytics, they need to be skilled. They need to have been trained on this, how to do analytics, how to measure the analytics. They have to have experience on this and on other companies. So in any case, certification and training for me is very, very important. Either you hire your own employees or you outsource it to another company.
Thank you for giving this, lead on the topic, Eleni. And by the way, our next series of talk after this, analytics and business, we're going to talk about a very, very sensitive topic, and some of those this top some of the people, they might not like this topic at all. That can analytics be outsourced? So we'll leave it to that, and we'll leave you with this thought. But before that, Abhijit, take us through that this certification and your initiatives. I'll put the slide on.
Abhijit is on mute.
Looks like Abhijit is off air. So on his behalf, just wanted to give you a brief. Abhijit has been leading couple of major initiative, and he has been regarded as one of the leading academician certification, consultant and a consulting guy, and he has been driving and leading a various analytics certification. So he's designed a series of analytics in HR, supply chain, logistics, sales, marketing. One of the certification that touched us very, very closely is he designed a very, very unique certification program, which is called Certified Analytics in HR Strategy and Planning. And he has been leading this certification program for now a couple of years now. And um, and he spoke to us about just to bring this certification to the HR community, and to share with them the certification and its benefit, and because he has been delivering this certification all across in Saudi Arabia, Middle East, and Africa region and all. And we hope in our next session he will give us a little bit more detail about these certifications and all. With this, we have overshot the time by almost 7 minutes. Abhijit has gone a little off air, and he is still logging in.
No,
Since
I'm
we have
back.
gone, yeah,
I'm back.
you're back. Yeah, Abhijit, yeah, take us through this.
No, just I'll not take much time. The whole purpose of building this course is there is a common perception that any training about analytics is all about data scientists, making you a data scientist. Whereas the objective of this course is one should understand what is it, where it is applied, and how it can be used for the business. I am touching upon all the four key elements. Employee lifecycle management, which is the complete work that an HR manager or HR personnel does, where we can touch which issues are important, something like reducing recruitment time, increasing productivity, and how analytics can be used on it. They should have a basic understanding of the statistics, because that is all analytics is about, statistics and data. So we will take them through the understanding of analytics in terms of statistics, probability, etc. The third, which is the most important thing, is the problem solving, because any good analytics initiative starts with good problem solving, and that is the responsibility of the business managers. They should understand what is problem solving and structure the problem for the analysts. After that, the analysts can take over. The fourth is an acquaintance with Excel as a medium, because it is the cheapest and the most readily available tool in any organization. So at the end of the course, they don't need to invest in any software. They can immediately start working at the basic level analytics. Once they start getting comfortable, they can definitely, some of them can go for higher courses on data scientists, or data science, machine learning kind of a thing. but we will definitely be covering machine learning in terms of what is machine learning, where it is used in the business, how it brings about a change in the business that the way that we do. So that is the course all about. I'm looking forward to making analytics less of a dragon and more enjoyable for employees who have been doing business unknowingly using analytics. Now it's a chance to formally start using analytics as a platform.
Thank you, Abhijit, and thank you all for joining us for today's discussion. And we'll carry on this discussion in our next talk next week and thereon. The next topic is a very sensitive one. Should analytics be outsourced? So we're going to do a lot of brainstorming in this. And good luck, Abhijit, for your the certification. And we, from
you
the
so
Global
much.
Society of Human
Thank you so
Capital Management, we thank you for bringing this certification and telling us all about to the HR folks that this certification, and I've seen this works. Transformation and analytics has been my domain all across in my HR career. Thank you, Engineer Bashir, for taking us again through your phenomenal talk of on analytics.
Egyptian.
Yeah, yes, yeah. All right, and thank you, Eleni, for giving us this perspective from the banking sector and then correlating that with the other sector. And Dr. Pragati, thank you from you could spare some time from the US, and you could tell us about how you have started your journey and how analytics is playing crucial role in decision making in various organizations. Thank you all. We'll join next again and see you all
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
You have a
Thank
good day.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good
Take
day.
care.
Bye.